So here basically we are discussing about uh, the Sri Krishna avatar basically, which has already taken. So here basically we are not telling that Sri Krishna avatar basically has doing some lots of bad thing basically. If the problem basically exists, you have to solve the problem. Whatever problem basically exists in this world, you can't exit that, right? You can't skip that problem. Without skipping the problem, you can't go. Without skipping the problem basically, he will basically never going to go. So that's why basically lots of people says that um, war is also basically one of the solution, because uh, few people says that the disease basically is not going, then basically you have to finish that disease, right? So that 35 city basically is one disease, right? So that is basically created by a set of doctors only. It's not that it has not created by the doctors. So here basically the 100 years, after 100 years, Sri Krishna taken the avatar and he connected to 35 cities. And like this within fraction of second basically his energy basically connected to the whole world within fraction of second. As the birth basically assume that just 5 minutes before Sri Krishna taken as an avatar in Mumbai city, where basically I visited 6 times and basically there basically I have not got the problem. So this is also one of the problem, right? So that basically how basically it's going to solve. That basically also we are going to see live only. So assume that in Mumbai basically the avatar basically has taken. In Mumbai basically the avatar has taken, and within fraction of second it connected to 35 cities, because all the problem basically which we have already discussed, the problems are basically created by certain groups. And that problem basically, I will take one example, the depression. So depression basically is one disease, right, which is basically created, right? How basically he gets the depression? He is not getting the job. So he is not getting the job, what is the reason? For that lots of people say that human resource are there basically, but human resource nowadays what they are doing, they are just for earning the money, right? They don't have any afraid of Sri Krishna or Sri Ram or Hanumanji. They are basically just earning the money, because the people who are earning the money, they basically don't believe in God only. They basically don't believe in God only. So like this basically the 35 city basically was connected. Here basically when the problem basically was connected, that time basically the avatar basically got connected, and then the all the problem basically was created from these 35 cities. That was basically city was created. City basically was created. For example, I will take one example. Chikungunya. There is one disease basically called chikungunya. Assume that when basically I was in Bangalore basically, that time basically I got that disease. That's why basically I suddenly remembered that. So this is the time basically which I basically got remembered. So that is basically Sri Krishna Avatar. Karnataka is also basically one of the Sanskrit city, and that is basically also connected with the Sri Krishna Avatar city. Lots of people believe in Sri Krishna. So that city basically I got the chikungunya disease. So assume that chikungunya disease basically was generated from three cities. In three city basically, in one city basically there are 100 buildings. Second number city basically it was 90 cities, say 90 buildings, and in third basically it was 95 buildings. So from that basically number basically that three cities, the chikungunya got generated, and this city basically does not exist in one or two near one country basically. It exists in many countries, because it's very nobody can able to track that. Why? For example, if one person is ruling the country, he will basically never going to give his ruling part to anyone, right? So he created like this the cities basically for chikungunya three, um, like this basically three cities basically are created by him, and like this basically he generated the chikungunya disease. And for that basically medicines are also there. For that basically assume that he generated four cities, like these seven cities are there. So like this basically it's a disease, right? So same way basically. So this was also basically one of the problem basically. Chikungunya basically is one disease, and that basically is created from set of the people's problem. Assume that this chikungunya when it was generated newly in the earth planet, that time basically around 300 people basically was having some problem. You can say one group basically was having some problem. So that story basically generated the chikungunya. That story basically generated the chikungunya disease. So just see basically how dangerous it is. How dangerous it is. And it's going to be very dangerous. So like this, in Bangalore city basically, chikungunya basically disease got generated, right? Chikungunya disease basically got generated. And that was tracked by satellite group also. They actually tracked that. Assume that chikungunya basically was generated from Bangalore city, and that was basically connected by the satellite group also. They basically also connected that this 300 people basically due to their problem basically, lots of people says that there is basically one person basically who is creating the problem. Why don't we kill that person basically? Kill, then basically see the problem, what is things going to happen. Because if he has generated the disease in earth planet, that means he is very powerful. He is very powerful, and his group is also very powerful. The 300 people basically who are basically into this chikungunya disease. So you can't kill that person also. Lots of people say that why don't we kill that person? So that's of thing basically also happen. So they says that oh, can we give him HIV/AIDS and finish his generation by Nasbandi? So like this, people are also there who say that we will finish the generation. We will finish him and we will finish the generation also, because we are basically facing lots of problem from that particular person. So you can just imagine the things going to connect now. So like this basically he got basically connected with 300 people basically, and like this basically the 300 people basically will never going to die in this world. Few people might be dying, but few people will never die. Why? Because the chikungunya owner basically there might be one person basically who basically connected with one story, and that story basically connected with the chikungunya disease, and his story basically he's basically never going to die. He basically, you can say, never going to die. So like this basically the disease owner basically never going to die, right? Same way basically corona also have one disease, sorry, corona also have one owner, few set of owner group basically. Few people says that we have broken the relationship with that person basically, we don't want to keep the relation with that person basically. So that person also basically is going to face lots of problem in future, because he has broken the relationship, and broken the relationship energy has generated in environment. So few people say that that person basically he is not good person basically, he drinks wine, he basically have lots of girlfriends. So that basically person is not good person basically, we can't stay with him. So few people basically say that no, sorry, we have to break the relationship with them. Then basically why basically you accepted his relationship, that basically question is going to happen. That question also basically will going to happen, right? So we are going to discuss this also later on, what happens basically if you break the relationship, and what are the problems basically you are going to 100% going to face in future, and that problem is going to create problem to whole world, and whole world is basically going to create problem to the entire universe. That's why basically this problem basically is not supposed to move to universe. That's why basically this Sri Krishna got taken the avatar. Every 100 year basically he takes the avatar. Why? Because the problem basically is not supposed to move to the universe. If the problem basically moves to the universe, then basically entire earth planet is going to suffer. Even basically the Sri Krishna is going to affect his image also. And his if any god basically hurts his image, then basically you know basically what are the things going to happen. The third world war is already started. The third world war basically is already started. Few people says that without world war also thing basically can come. But the problem is the person basically. I will take myself example. I was visiting 6 times to Mumbai, right? The HR people, that is basically Naukri.com, Monster, Times of India, these all people basically might be knowing, right? Because I was updating into that portal. So they were each and every people basically was tracking, and Naukri.com basically is how big portal basically. Lots of people says that it's few people says that it's past sorry ex-presidents, ex-Indian presidents is the ex-Indian president is the owner of the Naukri.com. Lots of people says that like that. It might be totally different because you can't give the original owner information. It's very difficult. Why? Because the problem basically just now occurred that has basically merged with the 100 that is merged with the Sri Krishna avatar, right? That is merged with and when basically Sri Krishna is going to solve that problem, then basically that ex-president is 100% going to effect. 100% going to effect. He might be basically died also. So this is basically the current status that is ongoing, and like this basically assume that I am just taking as an example of myself. Like this basically assume that there are 3,000 problems in this world which is created by certain groups. In front of the world it is political people, but it's not political people, that is 100% sure. Because the thing basically which is in front of the world, it's not like that. They are basically totally different people who are basically designing the problems and they are ruling the world. So like this the avatar basically got generated. Like this avatar basically got generated. He connected with the 35 cities. After 35 cities, 40 cities. To create city basically it's not so easy, right? To create city, it's not easy. 40 city to create, how many time it is going to take, right? How many time it is going to take? It's going to take lots of time. It's going to take lots of time. Till then basically how should basically you should solve this problem basically. Lots of doctor basically says that we also know basically. Lots of people say, can we track Sri Krishna God? For that basically ISKCON temple basically has created. Lots of people say that we have read the Bhagavad Gita basically, where Sri Krishna says this, that. So we can connect. If we read 100 time books, then basically he mostly basically might be connecting with us. Then we can directly basically talk to him and basically like this basically we are going to solve the problem. Like this basically it's very difficult, right? If you are getting any problem that is basically created by the set of certain groups, they are created by the certain groups and they have designed the problem, right? They have designed the problem, right? And this basically comes into the business. This is the basically real world business basically you can say. Creating the problem. 35 city basically is disease created, right? And they group only basically created the 40 cities, that is basically the medicine city. Medicine city basically. So one person told that how basically this might be happening the process basically. How basically you can track that this person is Sri Krishna and he is basically connected with the lots of people say we can't track the chaining system. We can track this. For example, myself I am moving in this particular Mumbai city. So in Mumbai city basically where I have visited, that basically energy company basically can easily able to track that this person has visited this Siddhivinayak temple, this person has visited this area, this person has stayed in this lodge, this person has visited to this consultancy, this person has contacted this Naukri.com, this person has connected with the Monster.com, this person has connected to the Times of India. So this energy basically has generated in the Mumbai city. And that basically comes into the problem. That basically comes to the problem. So we have already discussed basically how the basically this Sri Krishna avatar basically has taken into the picture and how basically is going to solve. Assume that he basically came to 2017. He came in our planet and he basically taken the birth in Mumbai city. But which place, that basically you can't track it, because if you are tracking it, again repeating the word, if you are tracking this, then I am 100% telling you enter Mumbai might get into the sea. If you want to do this, then you can track this. If lots of people say no, we want to do the experiment, we want to know basically whether it is basically really correct or not, so you can do that and you basically will get the result also. The entire city basically is going to go into the sea. And lots of people say that we have created the Haji Ali Dargah also. There basically people say that if Haji Ali Dargah basically exists, then Mumbai city will basically nobody in this world basically is going to create problem to the Mumbai city, because Haji Ali is basically one person basically who basically came to Mumbai long time before, and he basically connected with Maharashtrian people and he basically created his status basically, and his family basically also exists there. Lots of people say that his body basically was came from Arab city, and there basically we have created the Dargah. There are lots of things basically. You can't know the exact real picture basically, because for example, uh, 10 minutes before basically what the things basically I have told, until basically the person is basically standing in front of you, he only knows, right, that this person has told this. Another person is going to know this? No. By chance the recording is happening, but nowadays basically the recording gets modified also. Nowadays basically recording gets modified also. So it's very difficult, right? Because time basically when it has gone, it has gone. So that is basically few people say that it's a time pass. Time already passed. Lots of people basically says that. Sri Krishna Avatar group basically says that you are basically doing the time pass. So they are also basically going to see what actually the time pass is. That also basically you are going to see in future what actually the time pass is. So like this basically assume that here basically we have taken as in two city. One is Mumbai city and Bangalore city. Mostly basically it is the two city only. Another city basically it does not exist. Lots of people say that it can be Hyderabad also, right? Because it is the one of the oldest city. But Hyderabad basically it's not possible. So mostly it is Bangalore or Mumbai. One city basically exists. In there basically assume that it's some location basically where basically the one avatar basically gets exist. That is basically given name as avatar. So this is also one of the part. In next part basically we are going to see a little bit more about this only.